Hi, Rory. How are you?
Hi, Peter. I'm good. Thanks. How's yourself?
I am absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. Rory, I want to thank you for taking the time to share your story with the Business Spotlight. Could
Mhm.
we start? Could you tell me a little about yourself and your business, please?
Yeah, so obviously my name is Rory Doherty. I am originally from Newcastle, County Down, but I moved to Belfast when I was 18 to go to university where I studied community youth work and became a youth worker based in West Belfast, supporting families um, from across the divide, across peace walls and bringing them together and particularly working with the young people and supporting them. Then about 7 or 8 years, no, 10 years ago, I did a postgrad diploma in restorative practices. So it combined community youth work, restorative practices, and the real passion for mine is storytelling and empowering and enable people to reflect upon and share their stories to create change.
And so, how long have you been in business for in your current form?
Well, I set up Voice in the Void during lockdown. It started off as initially as a project where we reached out and recorded the stories from 19 participants from across the world. So people from South Africa, England, Ireland, and the UK, and they were all sharing how they were coping during the pandemic, how they were looking after their mental health. So they were sharing coping strategies, skills, and technique to try and encourage people because obviously that pandemic was a very challenging and difficult time for people we were supporting with. So it started off initially as a project, which was a fundraiser. We raised money for people who are working in the townships in South Africa. And then gradually, and also alongside that, I was doing a post or a advanced diploma in social enterprise. So during lockdown, I was in furlough, and I did the first project, and then also got registered as a social enterprise during lockdown, where we then began to be able to roll out other projects and secure small grants to do other storytelling projects.
And what was the spark? Tell me what the spark was, Rory, that made you take the plunge and launch Voice in the Void.
Okay, what was the spark? I suppose for me, I realized the benefits of storytelling whenever I was younger. I was 16. I've had a couple of like traumatic events in my life, particularly I had a cousin who was 5 who died of cancer, a brain tumor, and that made me question everything that I thought was the God, for example, he was looking after me and how could this happen? And then there was a couple of other things that happened, and like everyone, sometimes life just throws you horrible blows, and you have to deal with it. And the way I unfortunately turned to unhealthy coping strategies. So I was self-medicating and using cannabis to go to sleep and numb my feelings. So it got to a really dark place. And it was whenever I started putting my thoughts and feelings into words and pictures and titled my story In Too Deep. And once I shared my story with the cousin who was a youth worker, that's whenever I realized that's what I want to do. I want to help other people who are struggling, who maybe have different challenging experiences, to provide them an opportunity to, in a safe place, to share their stories. And from that age, I went on to do community youth work and restorative practices, and it all comes down to the power of storytelling for me. And that's where I had a vision for Voice in the Void, where it was youth led, where we had young people who were involved in the projects, helping to co-facilitate, using their own experiences to become leaders in their own communities and to develop this outreach campaign as well, using the power of storytelling. So it's always been a vision of having Voice in the Void since I was younger. And I suppose during the 15 years experience I've had in that family support centre in West Belfast, it led on to helping me get it off the ground. And I suppose during the pandemic was an opportunity for me to take the time out, reflect, and yeah, that was an opportunity to do the studying of the social enterprise, and then it just seemed like the time was right, so we got it established, and then did a couple of number of projects, and things just went snowball from there.
And what would you say has been your biggest lesson since launching Voicing the Void?
The biggest lesson probably is the power in networking. I think like throughout my years, I've always been very good at maintaining relationships with people and other organizations. And that has proved very beneficial whenever I was getting off the ground because I was able to pick up the phone and ask people who I haven't spoke to in a while for favors, and people would like to support you because you've established and maintained that relationship with people. And it works vice versa. I've been able to go in and do work and help them, maybe they're helping them share their story of their organization. So it's twofold, and it's definitely something that I would encourage people is just never underestimate the power of networking and even the conversations you could have with someone sitting beside you on a bus. Like that happened with just a couple of months ago. There was a young playwright from Australia, and I had a conversation, just started chatting to her, and now she's going to be doing some work with us, A Voice in the Void, like, and it's an amazing opportunity for her and us because we wanted to turn some of the stories into theatre and just be having a conversation and always sort of promoting what you're doing and what you really believe in. Because I like the vision and then the passion that we have for Voice in the Void is this ripple effect, and networking goes hand in hand with that. I think if you can get people to buy in on your vision, then you're on the winner.
Yeah, it's a great story, and so true. Conversations are the lifeblood of business and life itself.
Mhm.
So, like, who do you admire? And if I think about the world of business, is there anyone that you admire as a business leader, or anyone that's
Well, in the world
influenced
of business, I'll kind of probably strip it back to like say with Northern Ireland because we're talking about Northern Ireland businesses, particularly yourself. I would say Brendan McDowell because Brendan was in the same year or the same school as me, same integrated college, and now he's went on to set up B Cosmetics, his own makeup brand, and is doing phenomenally well, and even got his own TV show on BBC there, I seen like. So he seems to be smashing it and very passionate. He's good on the social media up front and passionate about what he's doing. So yeah, Brendan Medall.
very good, very good. I've seen that bit of that program. I know the one you mean.
Yeah, politics as
And
well.
yeah, and tell me, so what gets you out of bed in the morning and really drives your passion for your business?
I think our vision is to create personal societal change through the power of restorative storytelling. So for me, it's all about inspiring change and about providing opportunities for people who maybe have fallen through the educational systems or being excluded or those on the fringes of society to realize and find their own voice and for them to harness the potential for their own voice to create change for themselves, their family, communities, and wider society. So it's about helping people to create that necessary change, particularly here in Northern Ireland, whenever many people feel that their voices aren't being heard. We haven't got a functioning government for many years, and people are just deflated at the thought when you're saying about creating change. It's about trying to ignite that flame within. So for me, it's very much providing opportunities to really create change, meaningful change.
So, Rory, I'm going to give you a scenario. You're on a desert island, and you're allowed either one book or one podcast or both. What are you gonna be reading or listening to?
One book or one podcast? Ah, that's a tricky one. Yeah, one book. Okay, I bought a book there recently. Actually, it was Signs, the the universe's language. It's all about like the science from the universe, about opening up to people maybe connecting or inspiring you. If you're ever feeling lost or unmotivated or wanting questioning, you just ask the universe, and somehow the universe will give you a sign of what to do. So I've started reading it, and I will probably take that book to read.
Very good,
For
very good.
ask for a sign maybe to get back out off the desert island. I don't know.
Well, there you go. And look, if you could invite any three people, alive or dead, to a dinner party, who would you invite?
Oh, okay, alive or dead at dinner party. Okay. I would probably invite Prince, um, Diana, Princess Diana, and Barack Obama.
Very good. Tell why those three.
I just think there'd be loads. I would love to hear more about their lives and their experiences and what the behind the stories, behind the camera, and what their life was really like, and learn from them. I think they're amazing people, and they went on to do great things. And tragically, some of them have died in difficult circumstances.
And Rory, if you could go back in time and give some advice to your 18-year-old self, what would that advice sound like?
Think it would probably just go easy on yourself, trust that things will be okay. Probably put a lot of pressure on myself. I was only diagnosed recently with dyslexia, so I kind of like struggled and had to work extra hard at school and university. So it was kind of always second guessing and doubting myself. And I think it would probably just be to go easy, trust yourself, and things will be okay. Believe in your vision, believe in where you want to go, and connect probably with like-minded people.
Superb. And Rory, if somebody likes what they've heard from this interview and would like to reach out and get in touch, what would be the best way for them to go about that?
Well, you could get our contact details on our website, which is at voiceinthevoid.com, email address, which is rory@voiceinthevoid.com. All our contact details are there.
Superb. Well, Rory Doherty from Voice in the Void, thank you very much for sharing your time and your story. As you do, it's been really, really cool. Listen, it's really inspiring to hear, you know, how Voicing the Void was born and what it does. So, look, thanks very much again for your time, and I wish you all the success for the rest of 20, the 98% that's left of 2024 and beyond. Thank you very much, Rory.
Peter, thank you very much for having me.